Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Zoe Muro. And now, here's Zoe.
Hi, folks. I'm hiding. There you are. Hi. Welcome to the New Thought Media Network. My name is Zoe Muro, and I'm honored to be your host for Choice, your creative superpower. We are here each Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Mountain time, assuming that I remember to actually hit all the right buttons. We're here to consider how we can use our superpower to create a life experience for the greatest good. If you're coming back, it's so good to spend this time with you again. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm a religious science practitioner at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living in Northern California. I'm also a transformational coach. I work with people who are looking to live their lives to the fullest. In today's episode, episode 22, we'll be completing our exploration of choice and wellness. Excuse me. If you didn't have a chance to listen to the last two shows, please do so when you get a chance to do that. There's a lot of material that we covered relating to this topic. So briefly, let me just remind you of the focus for the topic, which is the model developed by Dr. Bill Hetler, the co-founder of the National Wellness Institute, and it's called the 6 Dimensions of Wellness. Those dimensions being occupational, physical, social, intellectual, spiritual, and emotional wellness. So far, in the first two episodes related to this, we've touched upon the physical, the social, the occupational, intellectual, and emotional dimensions. So that's 5 of the 6. Today, we'll be exploring the spiritual dimension. Now, I am aware that many of you have found this show because of your spiritual quest or journey, but I'm also aware that there are those of you who do not necessarily think of yourselves as being quote unquote spiritual. Well, most often, that's because of a misconception that spiritual is synonymous with religious. An easy distinction is that religion is based on beliefs, whether it's about a deity or an afterlife or some specific dogma, whereas spirit is more a matter of connection and meaning. Now, believe me, there's absolutely no reason why religion can't be associated with connection and meaning. Most certainly can. But spirituality requires nothing in terms of beliefs. Rather, think of it as a perspective. Now, the reason I chose to keep this particular dimension for last, and why I decided it needed its own segment, is that spirituality is the one dimension that I have found over the years and years of working with clients that has been at the heart of their successfully engaging in their most fulfilling life experience. Now, let's face it, if we're talking about wellness, why would we not seek a fulfilling life experience? So, with this as our frame of reference, how do we associate spirituality and wellness? How does all that tie in with choice? So, considering that spiritual relates to spirit, not religion or specific beliefs, let's keep it there and see what it might present for us. Now, the origin of the word spirit, excuse me, lies in the Latin word for breath, word spiritus. And breath, generally speaking, well, that's the essence of life. When we say we've had a spirited conversation, for example, we're talking about one with lively discussion. So the connection of spirit to wellness is actually a very direct one. I mean, can you imagine wellness without life? Can you imagine having a fulfilling life without a sense of connection? To be sure, my own life was at a standstill to a very great extent until I was able to find the spiritual nourishment and enrichment that I needed for so long. Now, those of you who have listened to some of my other episodes will know that I dealt with addiction for a number of years. When I was coming out of the ravages of addiction, I knew I had to address wellness with as much drive, if not more, than I did responding to addiction's relentless draw on me. As much as the physical part of my recovery did for me, it wasn't going to be enough to sustain me because I had to choose how best to live. Did I simply want to survive, or did I want more out of life? So I had to address the emotional and the social aspects of wellness. I had to choose how and with whom I'd spend my time. Now that I was forsaking the pursuit of alcohol and drugs and therefore avoiding the crowd I ran with, because this is a crowd that did all he could so that we could keep one another tied to our addictions. Misery loves company, I guess. But all of this eventually led me to pursue what I believe to be the most important benefits of the spiritual dimension of wellness: purpose and meaning. Purpose and meaning. Now, one of the most interesting aspects of choice to me lies in the questions that I ask. That is, what do I choose to explore, to question, to investigate, to clarify, to discern, to challenge? So my choice to pursue spirituality and spiritual wellness, it actually led me more to questions than it did to answers, at least initially. It's an odd seeming contradiction. But I have found that the more I choose to question, the more I choose to understand. The more I choose to understand, the deeper my connection to life becomes. Good example of this is my role as an ally to those who are underrepresented or disenfranchised because of how they present themselves in the world or because of how they're seen in the world, whether we're talking about gender identity, sexual preference, race and ethnicity, and so on. There is unfortunately many reasons why people need allies. By choosing to question how different my life experience is compared to theirs, that has led me to understand far more and has informed me of how I can be a better, more effective ally. As for myself, did I actually sit down and choose to pursue the meaning of life, or at least the meaning of my life? Well, not really. I would say it found me. What I did choose to do, though, was to take a look at what I valued, what I believed, and how my beliefs were shaped by my addiction. And also looking at how my life progressed after I got clean and sober, and how I did or did not move away from how I presented myself in the world. I had decades of hiding, of lying, of basically just trying to get by. So it took a while to see that there was more to me than I thought. So I chose to dig deeper into the belief that I held for my entire life, that there was something within me that was good, something that somehow escaped the corruption. I honestly can't tell you how I knew that that was there, other than what I believe to be the grace of loving spirit. But I knew it was there. Despite all of the work that I did to climb out of the depths of addiction, or more accurately, because of that work, I actually found that there were more hurdles, more obstacles that needed to be addressed. But now I had the awareness, the energy, the drive, the spirit, you might say, to grow, to spread my wings, to take flight. So, all that I had done to move from illness to wellness, as important as that work was, as powerful and successful as it was, I still found that spiritual wellness surpassed it all in terms of my ability to lead a fulfilling life. I didn't realize it at the time, but what I was going through was to develop an outlook, a perspective of life, one that was more open, more inviting, more engaging, and more promising than I ever could have imagined years ago. To this day, I mean, I've been sober for almost 43 years. To this day, I am constantly amazed by how much greater my greatest good can be. Now, I spoke earlier of being an ally. It's a perfect example of how my spiritual wellness has been nurtured and in turn is nurtured. Choosing to be in service to others brings an astonishing meaning to life. And in turn, it generates even greater opportunities to learn, to grow, to be. I read about a study that suggested that searching for the meaning of life as a direct focus act can actually be less than effective. Instead, the study suggested that the meaning of one's life becomes clear as a result of one's actions. That it is literally a dynamic living entity. I like that. It appeals to me to think that there literally are no limits. When I was looking at some of the differences between religion and spirituality, I found a definite bias against religion in many writings. It was surprising and eye-opening, to say the very least. Now, I'm not saying that religion is bad. Absolutely. Nor am I saying that it is inherently inferior in any way to spirituality. Absolutely not. But I will say that how religion is used at times can be most damaging and completely counter to what I personally would want to adhere to. Which is really unfortunate that religion has been turned on its head in that way, in so many ways, and so many times. There was this statement that I found. It's a very provocative statement. It said, religion tells you the truth. Spirituality allows you to discover it. As I said, I'm not going to denigrate religion per se, but I do understand that sentiment. Because spirituality to me, it feels like it's all about choice. It has a fluidity to it, an energy that infuses and informs. It feels more like an invitation than an obligation. Spirituality invites me to appreciate the world intrinsically, to appreciate what is, to bring myself in alignment with my beliefs and my values, to act accordingly with that alignment, and to realize just how much I am part of nature, not apart from it. So, we already saw that in other dimensions of wellness, there are choices to be made. Spiritual wellness is a bit different because it's more about accepting, allowing, being aware than it is about literally choosing to do something. Spiritual wellness is a state of being, more so than it is a state of doing. Right? Spiritual wellness is more a state of being rather than a state of doing. There's a Zen parable that speaks to this perfectly. It seems that a young monk was seeking enlightenment. So he went to his mentor, a monk of years and years, and he said, how do I get to a place of enlightenment? This is my quest. What do I do? And his mentor said, chop wood, carry water. Okay. So off he goes. And he keeps coming back year after year, time and time again. And he asks the same question, and he's given the same response. And then one day, he shows up to his mentor and he announces that after all this time, he has achieved enlightenment. How glorious. And now he wonders what he should do. His mentor's response, chop wood, carry water. Because it's not about what you do, it's about how you are in the world. It's about being. Well, yes, meditation, spiritual readings, being in service to others, all of these and so much more are absolutely part of a spiritual journey. But without the willingness to be open, to accept, to allow, to go with the flow, spiritual wellness can be elusive. So much of wellness is found in what we do or don't do, but the true core of wellness is indeed found in being. And that is exemplified most clearly in spiritual wellness. While we might think of what our purpose of life is and think of what we do, our real purpose, our real meaning is found in being who we truly are. Who we truly are, without comparison, without judgment, without fear of failure, without yearning for recognition. I mean, let's face it, there is only one you, and no one can be a better you than you. I've worked with many clients over the years, helping them to set goals to achieve their wellness. Because even though we speak about wellness as being a matter of literally of being, there are also things that we need to do. But here's the thing. You can set goals, and the truth is my wellness may look nothing like someone else's wellness. Because when you look at wellness and you take all of the dimensions together, there are no specific norms or standards. I mean, people talk about, how much you should weigh or what your measurements should be, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality of it is there's much more to wellness than those types of numbers. So let's come full circle to where we began with wellness. All right. What are we looking for? We're looking for fulfillment. We're looking for balance. We're looking for a sense of completeness. None of that depends on perfection. Okay. There's an old Italian saying, il meglio è nemico del bene. Basically, perfect is the enemy of good. Far too often, when people are looking for wellness, they torture themselves. They push so hard that they miss their goal entirely. I mean, I spoke about this when I was speaking about the physical aspects of wellness, how people, want to weigh a certain amount or they feel that they need to look a particular way, and they just make themselves miserable. And how can you have wellness and be miserable? They don't go together, folks. Wellness is not necessarily easy, but it is as simple as ABC. Awareness, balance, and commitment. Awareness, balance, and commitment. If you focus your choices on the ABCs, you're well on your way. So when I was looking at this topic, I was trying to figure out exactly how much time it would take me to get through all of these things. And I really had absolutely no idea. I have notes and notes and notes, and I have all these different things that I want to get across. And I'm not particularly hung up on time. That is to say, I have no great need to fill 30 minutes or to keep myself limited to the 30 minutes. My point is to get across those ideas, those perspectives, those questions that help you find your way in whatever our topic is. So think about wellness. Think about what it means to you. Think about those different aspects, those different dimensions of wellness, and think about what feels strong to you and what feels like there could be work to be done. Remember, we spoke about the concept of an inventory. So inventory yourself in terms of these dimensions of wellness. Look at your occupation. Look at what's going on with you physically. All right. Consider what you are dealing with emotionally. Look at how you are either providing for or limiting your intellectual growth. What's going on from a social perspective? And of course, how do you bring spirituality into your life? All of these things are for you to consider. All of these are for you to weigh, to consider what you need to be able to live your life more fully. Now, without a doubt, given that this is what I do on a regular basis with people, I certainly can give you some ideas. But understand something about the best way to approach wellness. That is to internalize it, to make it much more personal to you. Don't allow someone else to define your wellness. That's what you define. That's your choice. Okay. So if there is anything that you would like to talk about relative to choice in general, any particular topics that you would like to discuss, or if there's anything about wellness that you would like to explore with me, by all means, please send me an email at zodemuro@gmail.com. Here we go. And I would be delighted, absolutely delighted to hear from you. So I want to thank you for spending this time with me. And I want to encourage you to go to our website, ntmedia.org. Check out all the different things that we have to offer. If you're looking for prayer, for meditation, for information, for discussion, we've got it. Do you like New Thought music? Music that truly feeds the spirit? ntmedia.org/listen. We've got you covered. There's over 40 hours of programming each week on the New Thought Media Network, and we keep building more and more. Today at 12 noon Pacific time, that's 1 p.m. Mountain time, I invite you to check out Joy in the Journey. Actually, it's Finding the Joy in the Journey, with the radiant Reverend Gina Calvario-Krupka. Magnificent. And, it does take time and talent to present all that we do here, but it also takes treasure as well. So if you can, please go to ntmedia.org, find the donate button. Help us bring all of this goodness to the largest possible audience as we work to make this a world that works for everyone. So I look forward to seeing you next week. And until we do meet again, by all means, choose wisely. Much love and many, many blessings. Namaste.
Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Zo Muro.